The world. The guy who claims he runs the world has not been able to negotiate a single trade deal with a single country.
They are dying to make a deal. Please, please, sir, make a deal. I'll do anything. I'll do anything, sir. And then I'll see some rebel...
Nvidia, a foundational pillar of the modern technology landscape, is undergoing a profound and unprecedented strategic reorientation, fundamentally reshaping its entire business model in direct response to the sweeping and increasingly unpredictable U.S. export controls. This dramatic pivot marks the beginning of a new era for the company, one where its historic reliance on the lucrative and massive Chinese market is no longer a viable foundation for future growth. In a move that powerfully underscores this new reality, CEO Jensen Huang has made a landmark public announcement. Nvidia will no longer include the Chinese market in its official revenue and profit forecasts. This momentous decision signals a challenging new chapter for the company, forcing it to navigate an increasingly complex and constrained global landscape and compelling a complete overhaul of its long-term financial and operational outlook. The repercussions of this strategic realignment extend far beyond simple quarterly reports, touching upon deep geopolitical tensions, the future of the global artificial intelligence race, and the very structure of the international technology supply chain. The company is effectively untethering itself from a market that was, for years, central to its financial success and is now forced to forge a new path in a world defined by a new kind of technological competition, where government policy plays an equally important role as market demand. The tangible and staggering financial impact of U.S. chip restrictions. The U.S. government's policy, explicitly designed to deny China access to the most advanced technologies, is having a direct, measurable, and substantial effect on Nvidia's financial performance. The primary objective of these stringent restrictions is to prevent China from using cutting-edge American chips to bolster its military and enhance its artificial intelligence capabilities, a national security priority for the United States. For Nvidia, a company that has not only become a world leader, but also a foundational pillar in the burgeoning AI sector, these regulations have translated into a major, verifiable financial hit, forcing a significant recalculation of its future growth trajectory and a stark revision of investor expectations. The financial fallout has been staggering and immediate. In the first quarter of 2025 alone, Nvidia faced a colossal $2.5 billion loss in potential revenue. This massive figure is the direct result of stringent export controls that effectively blocked the shipment of its highly anticipated H20 AI chips to China. The H20 chip was the product of extensive engineering and innovation, specifically designed to comply with a previous, less restrictive set of export rules. However, a new and far more stringent set of regulations put in place in April required a special license for its sale, which Nvidia was unable to obtain. While the company's ultimate financial charge from this inventory issue was slightly less severe than initially expected, $4.5 billion instead of the anticipated $5.5 billion, it still represents a massive and undeniable financial setback that has significantly rattled investor confidence and created an untenable environment for reliable business planning. The constant evolution and inherent unpredictability of these regulations have made it practically impossible for Nvidia to reliably forecast its performance in the Chinese market, a situation that is unsustainable for a publicly traded company. The unpredictability of these rules creates a continuous risk that has fundamentally changed how the company must operate. This not only affects the top line, but also creates a significant drag on the company's supply chain management and product planning, as they can no longer count on a major part of their market. Geopolitical tensions and the global AI race. The strategic decision by Jensen Huang to remove China from future financial projections is a pragmatic, necessary, and ultimately stark move to provide investors with a more stable and realistic outlook on the company's performance. This shift underscores the reality that while some U.S. officials have hinted at possibly easing restrictions on lower-end microchips, the ban on the very, very high-end Nvidia chips that are critical for powering advanced AI systems will almost certainly remain a permanent fixture of U.S. policy. This two-tiered approach effectively cuts off Nvidia's most advanced and lucrative product from a massive and historically critical market, forcing a complete recalibration of its global sales strategy and product development roadmap. The company must now design its flagship products knowing that they cannot be sold in what was once a major market. Huang has consistently been a vocal and passionate critic of the U.S. export controls, repeatedly labeling them a failure. He argues that the regulations are not only failing to achieve their stated objectives, but are also causing more damage to American businesses than they are to China. This sentiment is widely shared by a number of industry experts and analysts who worry that the policy could backfire, inadvertently accelerating and strengthening China's domestic semiconductor industry. The intensifying AI race between the U.S. and China adds another layer of urgency and complexity to this issue. With the rapid rise of new, sophisticated AI models from Chinese startups like DeepSeek, the stakes are higher than ever for both nations. According to Dan Ives, a leading technology analyst at Wedbush Securities, the current ban on Nvidia's chips in China is essentially a gift to domestic competitors like Huawei. He wrote in a recent industry note that the ban is handing a good portion of Nvidia's business directly to Huawei on a silver platter. Ives and other industry leaders argue that if the U.S. hopes to maintain its technological leadership, it must carefully consider how its policies might inadvertently strengthen its rivals and weaken its own standing. The Trump administration has been particularly vocal about positioning the U.S. as the global leader in AI, with figures like Vice President J.D. Vance cautioning against excessive regulation of the AI sector that could stifle a transformative and critical industry, thus putting America at a competitive disadvantage. This debate highlights the complex balance between national security and economic vitality, Nvidia's strategic reorientation and future outlook. Despite the significant challenges posed by the restrictions in China, Nvidia is not standing still or retreating. The company is aggressively expanding its global footprint in other regions and markets, where it can operate with greater stability and fewer regulatory hurdles. Huang recently announced a series of major initiatives in Europe, including ambitious plans to build the world's first cloud computing platform dedicated exclusively to industrial AI applications. Additionally, Nvidia's powerful new Blackwell architecture will be used to power new AI infrastructure projects across the continent, signaling a deep and long-term commitment to the region. These strategic and aggressive moves demonstrate that while Nvidia is navigating a new, more constrained geopolitical reality, it remains dedicated to solidifying its position as a dominant force in the global AI landscape by focusing its resources and innovation on other burgeoning markets. This global pivot is a clear signal that the company is adapting to a new world order, seeking to maintain its dominance by diversifying its risk and capitalizing on opportunities in a post-China market. The ultimate success of this new strategy will hinge on its ability to forge new partnerships and capture new market share with the same speed and innovation that made it a leader in the first place. The company is actively pursuing new avenues of growth, from robotics to the metaverse, and is betting that its technological superiority will allow it to overcome this significant setback. This diversification is not just a reactive measure, but a proactive move to secure the company's long-term viability in a fragmented global market. The company is also investing heavily in software platforms, which are less susceptible to hardware-specific export controls, further protecting its revenue streams. The overarching message is clear. Nvidia is a resilient company that will adapt to geopolitical pressures, even at the cost of a major market, and continue to innovate at the forefront of the AI revolution.